Hi and welcome to the Black Lives Matter Art Activism workshop led by myself, Antonietta Torsiello. I'm a local artist based in Newham. I'm an award-winning artist, printmaker. I specialise in printed fabrics and textiles. But yes, I'm an all-round artist focusing on identity, nature, pattern and texture. A lot of my work is inspired by what I see around me and what people are going through in society, as well as myself. So it's always a reflection of how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, and that's what I want to go through the workshop with you and focus on, because I feel it's very important for us to express ourselves, especially since we've been in lockdown for so long, and now we're also in more lockdown measures. I know people are feeling or have been feeling quite anxious, along with a resurgence in police brutality, which has always been happening, but however it's been a lot more highlighted during the lockdown and during the beginning of the year leading up to now, with what we've seen, protests with the Black Lives Matter movement growing globally, and also smaller protests. What I would like to focus on today with you is creating some artwork that is inspired by how you are feeling personally about Black Lives Matter and about anything that might be affecting your life, in terms of how you're feeling. Maybe an injustice has been affecting you and you haven't been able to express it. This is a safe space for you to feel open and able to just be free, create some artwork and not worry about what the artwork looks like. And I'm also going to be diving into showing you some examples of different protest movements, looking at how we can interpret that and how we can include those similar ways of thinking in terms of slogans, imagery, into our own work, and create amazing protest signs for ourselves that we can keep and remind ourselves that we are worthy, we are strong, and we will stand up for what we believe in. And I think that that's really important in society, that we don't just allow ourselves to become normalized and numb to what's going on around us. The Windrush scandal is something that has affected my family personally, and is something that I've touched on in my artwork. I created an exhibition of pieces entitled Disposed, as I felt that was the best way to describe how the Windrush generation had been treated during this scandal, and it's still going on until this day. And that is just one example of how I think about what's going on around me and see injustices and incorporate that into my work. I've put some images below of this collection of exhibition pieces, which are a range of sculptures based around being disposable once what you're worth to society has been drained from you. And that is one project I have focused on that has meant something personal to me, and that has been a way of me protesting through my art. Just think about some words that encapsulate how you're feeling, or that focus on how you're feeling about injustices going on around you. Not just, doesn't have to be in the UK, although the protest movements I'm going to show you are going to be focused on the UK movements, as we live in the UK. However, a lot of people have family in other countries that are experiencing turmoil, abuse, and injustice on a daily basis, and this is the time for you to express that through the art. I know a lot of people find it difficult to express things in daily life, and that's partly the reason why I create so much artwork. It's because I find it something that's therapeutic, helps me express how I'm feeling, and yeah, it gets all the stress out of me for that moment, and I'm able to show others and also make a record of what's happening in history, and that's really important. Okay, so now what I want you to do is pick 5 words, so just 5, that are focused on how you're feeling or what you would like for the future or for our next generation, and write those down on a piece of paper. So now you have written your 5 words down, I'd like you to have a look at those 5 words. So have a look at your list and think about how you can incorporate those into your artwork. Now we're going to look at some images and some protest movements around the UK, and we are also going to figure out ways of adding those elements and looking at how they have created their own protest signs. Like there's a lot of homemade signs, there are a lot of signs that have imagery, signs that are created in an artistic way, or signs that simply just have words. We're going to look at that, and I'm going to give you the information, and I would like you to think about how you can incorporate that into your pieces, and we're going to move on from there. Okay, so now we've had a look at some protest movements around the UK and how others have been able to express themselves through protest signs, using colours, art, text and hashtags. Now it's your turn to create your own piece of work. I've stuck down my paper onto my board and I'm ready to start my piece of work. I've got my 5 words here on my little post-it note, and I'm going to use these words in my protest sign. So I'm showing you an example of ways that you can use your words that you've written down in your signs. Also think about imagery. When we think about protests, we are looking at obviously people gathering together to fight against injustice. As we're focusing on the Black Lives Matter movement, which is something that's really important at the moment, I'm going to be starting off by creating a bubble around Black Lives Matter. So I'm doing that in pencil first. So I'm writing Black Lives Matter, and I've made matter the biggest word, so it stands out. I've done this in pencil so that when I go around it in black pen, I can make it bolder, stand out. At this point I can also rub bits out. If I'm not sure, I can change bits as well. So now I'm going to go around my image with just a simple black Sharpie pen. So I'm going to go around my bubble. If you have paint, that's perfect too. I would normally be using paints, but I've decided to keep it simple for this workshop because I know not a lot of people have paints available to them. So now I'm going around Black Lives Matter. If you think about the vibrancy and the liveliness and the chanting, the calls for justice that happens at these marches. We can also think about the atmosphere of what it is like to be at a protest. I've attended many protests. My mum's an activist, so I've been going to protests since I was very young. So in my image now, I've added my Black Lives Matter, which is at the center of my image, and I'm going to now add some people, so some figures into my piece. And how I'm doing this is I'm looking at, first of all I want to show you my colors. These are the colors I've got for my piece, which I think will stand out very well in my protest sign. You can use any colors you like. These are just the colors I've chosen. I've also got a finer pen that I can add smaller details to. I'm going to use my fine pen to draw my figures. I know it's really zoomed in, but yes, here we go. So let me just roll my sleeve. So I'm going to add some images around. So I'm going to add some people into my image. So I'll start off by drawing a silhouette. So I draw the head first. What I want to do is draw people linked in arms. I know we're social distancing, but I want to show the closeness of how people are coming together to fight for injustice. So what I'm going to do is, when I come to the bottom of that person's arm, I'm going to join it on and then go up the other person's arm. So start drawing another person next to them. This doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be neat. Protest signs tend to be quite messy. It's just about the message, really. So I'm going there, going down. Okay, I think in there. What you can also do as well is you can add people into the background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a person just right behind these two people, and then I'm going to show you how to create an effect where it shows that these two people are in front of the other person behind, and it looks like it's more of a crowded environment, which a lot of marches are. So that's what I'm trying to go for in my image. So I'm just going to draw another person's head behind. As you're creating your artwork, keep referring back to your words that you've written down and think about where you can add those in. So I've just looked and I've seen that I have justice as one of my words that I've written down. So I'm going to write justice going down one of the people. So I've written justice right there. I'll show you a close-up of this after I've finished. I just want to kind of just give you a quick tutorial on how maybe you could create your work. So let's go back to our image. We're trying to create depth here. Sorry about the beeping. There's a lot of cars going around. Okay, so there's a person in the background here. I'm also going to add another person here, because normally in marches there's people directly behind you marching at the same time. So let's add another person behind. And then to create that depth, or to create an image where, or to show that these two people are in front, I'm going to get my thicker pen and I'm just going to go over them. So I'm just going to highlight those people to show that they're in front. Okay, so as you can see, I'm creating more 3D effect to my work. There. I'm looking at my other words. I have equality, because a lot of the time what we fight for is against inequality. So we fight for equality. So I'm going to get my red pen now. I'm going to look at how I can incorporate that into my piece. I'm going to draw another bubble right here at the top, and I'm going to choose my blue pen, and I'm going to write equality in my bubble. I want my piece to stand out, and I've decided that by adding colour as well as having the black and white elements, it stands out more. So I've got equality at the top. I'm going to use my kind of teal blue, I'm not sure if this is like a teal blue colour, and I'm going to create another bubble at the bottom here. As you can see, I'm not being precious about how I'm creating my work in terms of making it look perfect. What I'm trying to do is put across the message, and that's the main important bit for me. So when you're creating your piece, just focus on the message and how you're incorporating your words, and also if you want to add any images. So the next, on this area here that I've got is quite blank, I'm going to add some people here holding up a placard. So I'm going to, well, holding up a protest sign. So I'm going to draw. At the moment, these people haven't really got identities, and I kind of like that. They have identities because they're on a march, but they're not really identified, if that makes sense. So we will add identities to them later on. So we've got one person there. I'm going to add another person who's slightly younger, and they're going to have their arm up. So their arm, so what I've done is I've gone around the head, and I've, instead of dropping the shoulder low, I've used my pen to go directly up. As you can see, I'm going up here. So this young person is going to be holding the protest sign. So and I'm going to now draw the banner. I'm going to use this blue colour. I'm going to draw the protest sign here. And then I am going to write another one of my words in there. I've got opportunity. I think I'll go for power. So I'm going to use my green pen. So a lot of things that we fight for in society are injustices and imbalances in power. Power struggles. So there we go, that's another one. I have this bubble here, and I'm also going to add another bubble using, what colour should I use? I use my black pen? No, I'll use my black pen to add a bubble here. So going back in with my blue pen, I'm just going to add my another one of my protest words into this section here, and I am choosing strength. So I'm going to add strength. I've chosen to go with capital letters because I've noticed a lot of the protest signs are capitalized, and capital letters in general make your statement a lot louder and a lot more in your face, and that's kind of what we're going for. So I've decided to keep all of my text capitals. Now I'm going to think about how I can add any more details into my piece. So I'm going to use my black pen to link my words back to the center, which is Black Lives Matter. I'm going to use another pen, let's see. I'm going to use my red pen to link strength and power to Black Lives Matter, and then I'm going to use my blue pen to link this bubble to Black Lives Matter. I haven't added anything into this bubble yet, but that's because I'm thinking of what I can add to it. So with your work, you don't want to rush, you just want to take your time and think about what you can add bit by bit to make it stand out more. So let's see. Well, I've got all my words there. So I've got justice, strength, equality, power. That's 4. Okay, I've got one more word, which is rights. So we all have human rights, basic human rights. Well, we should do, and that's what we fight for. So I'm going to add rights to that. Now, thinking about the protest signs that we've seen, how can we make our images stand out more in this society? We can add hashtags. So afterwards I'm going to be adding some hashtags, but what I want to do now is add some red, which is a color that stands out very well on a protest sign. The paper I've used is just a standard watercolor paper. If you don't have watercolor paper, you can just use normal paper really, but just make sure it's not too thin. If you're using markers, if you're using colouring pencils, that's fine. So let's move ahead. I want to add a bit more depth to this area. I want to kind of do what I've done here, where it shows people in the background, people at the front. So I'm going to add a person here at the back. Going down there, the person there, and a younger person next to them as well. What I've really liked about seeing a lot of protest movements within the UK, not just the Black Lives Matter protests, but also like with the United Friends and Families campaign, the Windrush scandal campaign, and other marches, is that there's a lot of participation, or a lot of people come with their children. So it's really nice to see people bringing their children and involving their children in fighting for justice at like a young age. I think that's quite cool. So yeah, there we go. So I'm going to now go over in with my bold black pen make this person bold so they're standing in front, and then obviously this young person here who's holding up the sign, make them stand out so it shows that they're in front as well. And I'm going to make the stick on the I'm going to make the stick on the placard very strong too by adding my black detail. What else can I add to it? I think my protest sign is done. I can add the hashtag here because I have a bit of free space. As I said, I think hashtags are very important if you're creating a protest sign. Yeah, so I'm going to add that in now, and let's see what I can do. We can definitely do hashtag Black Lives. We can do hashtag BLM. We can do hashtag Black Lives Matter, because sometimes a lot of things are abbreviated or shortened down, but we want to make sure that people are saying the whole word Black Lives Matter, because that's what we mean, Black Lives Matter. And until they do matter, we're going to keep fighting for our rights, basically. So there we go. I've created something which is I would say something that stands out. You don't have to add as much as I have on here, but I just wanted to show you an example of how I've used my 5 words to create my protest sign. Thank you. I hope you really enjoyed the workshop as much as I did. I've loved being able to share my experiences with you and being able to share the protest movements that might not be so highlighted but are here in the UK, that you can also do further research on. If you would like your artwork to be submitted into the Black Lives Matter Art Activism exhibition, please send an image of your work to info@torsiellolondon.com. The email address is here, and also by posting your images on social media and hashtagging Newham BHM 2020 and also BLM Art Activist. So if you hashtag those two, we'll be able to pick those up and add your work to the exhibition that will be live on the Newham Black History Month website, which is amazing. And I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody's work. So thank you so much for participating, and I hope you have a lovely day.